I first met Tupac as a young child. I don't actually remember the age, maybe 5 or 6 years old. He was very young. Met him, I believe, at a Kwanzaa celebration or something in New York City. Good friends with his mother and his stepfather, Matul Shakur, and that's how we actually came to know Tupac. And then some travels from the East Coast to the West Coast over the years. Tupac was always a part of our life. He was part of an extended family. We worked in similar political formations. And during a short period of time when Tupac lived in Marin City, he actually came to stay with us in Los Angeles, California. So Tupac was always there. It was Tupac before he was Tupac the artist and everything like that. I knew him as a young man. I actually watched him develop into that young man that the world eventually knew.
They say intelligence is the ability to know things. They say knowledge is what is known. It has nothing to do with what you've learned. But intelligence is the ability to know things. And a lot of people don't have the ability to know things. This is intelligence. So the things they know, they don't really know. They have memorized. You don't have to have a degree for this. Tupac was intelligent. He would take common phraseologies and concepts, historical or otherwise, he would use terms and turn them on their head. You understand. And make you think about the situation from his perspective.
A lot of people talk about the two passionate sides of Tupac, and I say that and I smile because I often tell people Tupac was a true Gemini if you look at astrology. Sometime Tupac and I would have business decisions. We would make a decision. I might leave the room and come back in, and whatever we talked about was just totally changed. And I would often ask Tupac, could you just bring the other guy back, bring the guy back that agreed with me the first time. But in that also, Tupac had a sensitive side, and he also had a hard side, you want to say it. He represented the yin and the yang, or the dualities of life. And you can see that portrayed in his music. When you have Keep Your Head Up or Brenda's Got a Baby, and then you can talk about, have other songs where he's really talking street life. And people say, well, those seem to be contradictory, but they were not contradictory. They was just a part of Tupac. And he expressed the haves as well as the have-nots. He always wanted to have a pulse on the people that was disadvantaged, the ones he called them thug life. So people say, well, how can you talk about thug life and at the same time be so sensitive to an incest situation with Brenda's Got a Baby, or talking about keep your head up in a situation where single parent and particularly single black women can deal with that. So those two different sides of Tupac was really a part of. That was all of him. And you had to know that. You had to begin to understand that in order to work with Tupac. You really could not just say, well, Tupac is one-dimensional. In fact, he's probably more than just two sides. And I say is more because if we see tonight, we're here at a second tribute celebration of Tupac's life, and their music that's constantly coming out. People constantly finding out new things about Tupac. There's a side of Tupac that people never knew about, the poetry side. They knew about the music, they knew about the film, but they didn't know about, the poetry. And I always saw those things in there. Tupac was probably, because of those kind of things, one of the most prolific writers that I've found. He could write a song on the way to the airport. In fact, literally write songs out. He would take a legal pad and just really do a song. And a lot of songs you hear today. That's that duality, I believe, in Tupac.
He used to always sit us down and just shoot the knowledge at us, but that wasn't the way we got the knowledge from that. But we just got the knowledge being around him. Pop was never afraid to spread. And he said we was like he nurtured us, you know what I'm saying? We was like his children. We all got families and everything, but he took us to another level where parents don't really like to take their kids. And he took us there delicately, He didn't just take us there, kick us in the trash. He took us there with soft hands and gloves. And that's why we just get into the world now, but we been here. We gonna be here, so.
Yeah, I knew Pac since he got out of jail. He taught me more than anybody my whole life in that period of time. That's real.
Exactly.
This is the reality for a black male in my situation. He didn't represent everybody. In death, he does. Of course, in death, everyone represents everybody. But his life did not represent the life that everyone was living. His life represented a specific group of people going through a specific kind of experience.
First of all, I feel the world hasn't lost Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still here. He lived through me and a lot of other soldiers. He put me in the game through like the, you know, hook me up with the video and doing my video and talking to me and just sitting me down and talking to me as a little brother or as a young, you know, soldier or young warrior or whatever, getting at me. And so I feel he really isn't dead. And it's the Outlawz, Thug Life, Faye Hussein, and just a host of others that's going to keep his name alive, keep him alive. And, you know, man, I have conversations with him. You might think I'm crazy, but, you know, he ain't dead. Never that.